Righto. No idea whether the phone's going to pick me up on this one. Can't find my headset, so I'm just going to talk out loud, see if the phone microphone will pick it up. If there's too much background noise, I'll have to re-record this once I find my headset. Wanted to talk about fear. What is fear? What I consider fear to be, acronym that I know for it, and what to do with it. So, start with the acronym that I know for fear. False expectations appearing real. So basically, fear is in our head. It's something that we've concocted, something that we've assumed, what we think is going to happen. It's our expectations of what's going to happen. The problem is they're false expectations and they appear real. 90% of the time, 90% of all statistics are made up. The majority of the time, fears are unfounded. They have no base. It's just we think that, if we were to quit our job and we'll never get another one, and we're going to lose the house and not pay the bills and starve and live on the street and all the rest of it. The majority of the time, that's not true. Because we're perfectly capable of doing things, yet we let these mental constructions override our desires and what we really want. So, think of an example. Posting videos on YouTube. So, I'm a very, very personal person. Keep a lot of things close to my chest. I have a lot of psychological differences, the quirks. My missus is, I asked my missus what it means when somebody calls you quirky, and we did a bit of googling, and it's basically saying that the person is weird, but it's saying it in a nice way, not saying it is into cause distress or emotional anguish. So yeah, I have my own quirks, and posting videos, especially where you guys are seeing my face, is actually quite hard for me, especially at the start. When I started, I had my head in a helmet, and the only thing people could see was what was in front of me, what I was riding into. And I did that for a couple of years. Pretty sure it was a couple of years. And it was fine. Nobody could see me. Nobody really knew who I was. Then Sold the bike, and now I'm doing this. I remember when I first started doing this, I was so nervous and unsure, about putting up videos on YouTube. It's kind of like, what happens if somebody says something bad about me, or what happens if this happens or that happens, or I had all these situations in my head where it was, I better not, because maybe somebody will say something mean to me, or maybe I'll get something wrong and I'll get called out for it and I'll look like an idiot, or whatever it may be. Whereas now, I've done it for 4 years. I think it was my daughter asked me the other day, April 2016, I put my first video up on YouTube, and I'm pretty sure that was the very first time I had a camera strapped to my helmet. I didn't even have an audio option set up. I bought my bike, or had a bike. I've had a bike for ages. But I took my bike down to the shops and I bought an action camera. It was a little GoPro knockoff thing, and then I rode to my mum's house, put it on my helmet, and my mum's like, "Oh, is that for just in case you have an accident? You'll have footage to show that it was the other person." It's sort of like, well, yeah, sure, I might have some use in that sense, but no. And I explained to her, like, I'm gonna post videos to YouTube, and I'm gonna, try and make it big, and make all this money on YouTube and all that stuff. But yeah, no. Yeah, so she had her doubts, told me, be careful about your identity, and don't let anyone see where you live, and don't use your real name, and all that sort of stuff. Which, even to this day, you guys don't know where I live. You don't know my real name. We got Jeff, my man Jeff, which I actually don't think is his real name either. I think it's a different name. I don't know, one of them, somewhere there's a different name. Send me a message, Jeff. I can't remember which way is your real name. Either that, or I might have to look through my old messages. Was it the Facebook page? I get your name, figure it out maybe. But yeah, so there's the whole thing of that, and I've had this Facebook, YouTube, I've got Instagram and all that sort of stuff. Pretty much everywhere on the internet. But nobody's really said anything bad about me, said anything mean. I did have one guy try to tell me that I have no idea what I'm talking about when I'm talking about the police. Yeah, I don't know what I'm talking about, eh? If only you knew. So, he's like, "Oh, you don't know what you're talking about, the cops. I had somebody break into my house and it took them 3 hours to show up." I was like, "Yeah, dude, because the crime was committed. There's a non-violent crime. there's no risk of anything happening to you. They've come and gone. You know, it's not a priority. There's people with weapons, people with high levels of drugs. You know, there's violence going on. Your house got broken into, whoopee-doo. So yeah, that's the only mean thing that's been said about me. And I sort of embraced the looking like an idiot. I will admit I still struggle with people watching me talk to the camera. But, you know, it's... My missus brought up as well, because I did a separate video. It was a business related thing. I was standing directly in front of the camera, talking straight to the camera about the business, about the services provided, all that sort of stuff. And she goes to me, oh, I'm surprised you did that. You know, it's not really your personality. And she told me that it was really good and all that stuff. And I basically said to her, yeah, you've got no idea how many takes that took. And you watch that video carefully and you can see where it's been edited. They've taken chunks from here and chunks from there and sort of mashed it all together so that it sort of works as a marketing video. It's not great, it's horrible, but I don't know, maybe one day it'll get redone. Maybe they'll get somebody else to do it. And talk to the bosses and just be like, nah, I'm not doing it. Get somebody else. Let somebody else be the face of the company. But, yeah, I want to sort of get to the point where fear is false expectations appearing real. It's not there's a slim chance that your fears are going to come true, and even if they do come true, you know, the impact that the fear coming true has is only as great as you allow it to be. So, I mean, if I was to allow that one person to really get into my head and convince me that I've got no idea what cops are actually like, you know, then that would have some effect. But, you know, that in this situation, the person who said it, they don't know me. You guys don't know me. You know what I show you and what I tell you and what I talk about. And for him to try to tell me that I don't know the police, it's sort of like, well, duh, don't think so, dude. You know, and I think, sure, that helped in that situation, but even if somebody was to turn around and say, you know, for one of my recent videos, so let's say the cold one, the intermittent chills feeling. So I made comment in that video where this other YouTuber that I watched a video, she said, oh, it's because your blood is flowing more in your fat cells and that's why you feel cold. So I've done a bit of research on that since making that video, which I mean, sure, I should have done the research before making the video, but I didn't, because the idea just popped into my head to talk about it. I'm trying to get these out of the sun, but yeah, so the idea popped into my head when I was out for a walk. I originally started talking about improved recovery times, and then went one step further and started talking about another topic. But yeah, so I've done the research. It's not because of that. It's to do with thyroid activity and your metabolism and all that sort of stuff. But I touch on it briefly. I sort of give a rough little blurb about it in the blog post, which I'll link below, and I should probably link it in that video as well to change the description of it. But yeah, so it's, even if someone is to come around and tell me that, you know, I'm confident that I'll be able to just turn around and go, yeah, you know what, you're right. And yeah, I've actually done the research since, and go have a read of this article that I wrote. And I think part of controlling your false expectations, which cause your fear, is another little line. So I'm listening to Tim Ferriss's 4-hour work week or something like that. And I'm just about finished it. So right at the end, right towards the end, he makes a comment of, like, don't worry about what other people think, because they hardly ever do. Oh, hang on, I'm going to find it. Alright, so just found it. So it said, don't worry about what other people think. They don't do it often anyway. And it's true. You know, people these days, well, I say these days, it's probably been happening for quite a while. Because as far as I can remember, you know, you go back and then they're too young to be thinking about what they say anyway. So yeah, the line was, don't worry about what people say, they don't do it often anyway. And they don't think before they speak. A lot of people will just come out and say something and not ask questions, not get background information, just come straight out and go, oh, what are you doing? What would you know? You don't know the cops. I've had an experience with the police, and it was bad, so I'm going to base everything on that. Instead of ask the question of, well, what sort of, how are you making your judgment? How are you making your decisions? Why are you choosing to do this thing rather than, you know, well, you're against my opinion, so I'm against you. You know, everyone has opened their minds a little bit and take in other people's opinions and make a bit more of an informed decision instead of just getting the thoughts of one person and running with it. So, what to do with your fears? Basically, what to do with your fears is ignore them. They are false expectations appearing real. Okay, so you can either flat out blatantly ignore them because they're not worth paying attention to, or you can analyse and assess. So I'm going to go back to my example of doing YouTube. May as well keep with that one. So I had the fear of people finding out who I actually was, where I live and all that sort of stuff. Now, I put things in place so that nobody knew where I live. I never started a video or ended a video directly outside my house. I have driven past places that I'd lived at the time a couple of times while I was doing motovlogging. The videos now, you can see the front of, no, I don't think I've shown the front of my house. You see the back of my house out the garage. But, you know, there's no, I don't really show where I live, because it's not a part of the channel. You guys don't need to see it. My house is a little pillbox, so I'm not about to do a like a house tour or anything. Jesus, you guys don't want to see that. I might do a little video on my fish tank though. Got that over the weekend, that's pretty cool. And then as for who I am, I don't use my name. I've got family and friends that may on occasion watch my videos, possibly even post comments. They seem more interested in social medias, you know, other than YouTube. Get more activity on the other stuff, but it's, I don't use my name. I use a nickname. You know, I got a nickname, and that's Macca. You guys know me as Macca. And you know, if somebody was to see me on the street and call out, "Hey Macca," I will respond. There might be a look of confusion on my face, you know, while I'm looking for somebody's face that I actually recognise. But yeah, let's analyse the fear of somebody figuring it out. And look, if you really want to be a stalker and try to piece it all together and figure out where I live, knock on my door, you've got some serious devotion. And the only person out of my family that seems to have that sort of, anywhere near that sort of level of devotion to my channel is my man Jeff. And you're not going to try and find where I live, are you? You know, you want to get in contact with me, you just message me. That goes for everyone else. If you want to get in contact with me, leave a comment on a video. I don't get many. It's kind of hard for me to miss them unless the notification doesn't come up on my phone, which does happen, which is really annoying. But yeah, so analysing and assessing. I've done where I live, who I am, and as for the nasty comments, well, I told you the analysing and assessing of that before. The people on here don't know me. You know, and even my man Jeff, you don't know me personally, man. I mean, we've had lunch. You came to that meetup, the one and only that I ever had, which is partly because it was only you, me, and Mick, which, by all means, was a perfectly fine lunch. But you know, just sort of showed me that my channel engagement isn't very good, so I didn't really see too much point in doing that one too much. Actually, there you go. That reminds me of somebody else who said something bad about me on my YouTube. I had another bloke. It was while I was organising the fun run, try to tell me that I don't know, I can't remember what he was saying. It was probably just somewhere along the lines of you're a crap YouTuber, your videos are not worth watching, rah 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 rah. Which I just turned around to him and said, well, look, I tell you what, mate, if you really think that way, be sure to come down to the starting location for my meetup ride and tell me in person, because it's a good way to test somebody's conviction. All these keyboard warriors, you confront them in person and see what they say. I mean, let's give you guys a view. You really think somebody's going to try and confront me? Yeah? With my shoulders? They're going to walk up to me and go, oh good Lord, no, I'm not dealing with that. Which, that guy may very well have rocked up, because our starting location was shops in Serpentine. Jarrahdale. Yeah, Jarrahdale, and then we went out to Serpentine. So, he might have rocked up, took one look at me, and went, nah! Turned around and went the other way. Which, I got to admit, my fitness and physical appearance isn't what it used to be. I've porked up a little bit, which is part of the reason why I'm doing this walk every day. Well, not every day, but a lot. I'm walking a lot. It's my time. It's not showing me anything. Oh, nothing but fingers and hands. Sorry, guys. 5:15. I wonder when I started this walk. I wonder if I can see on my phone. Where am I? Half an hour. So we're over halfway. And only half an hour in. Or 28 minutes that just showed. But yeah, so blatantly ignore your fears. Or if it's a fear of getting hurt physically, or perhaps you're gonna cause distress to other people, analyse and assess. Do up a little risk review. What could happen? What's the likelihood that it's going to happen? What will be the ways to mitigate the risks? What are the ways of recovering after the fact if the mitigations have failed? And go from there. I'm gonna give another example here. You lose your job, right? So if you are a person that has a fear of losing your job, 150,000% you should be saving money. Yeah, if you're in an industry or in a situation or in a lifestyle that if you were to lose your job, then that would prove catastrophic to your ability to make money. Say you're a professional in a very tight-knit community, professional community, And say if you were to lose your job and it was for gross negligence or something of the sort, and it meant that like you just straight up aren't going to get another job in your industry, which means you need to retrain and you need to start from the bottom again, and it's going to take time to get money. You need to be saving that stuff. You need to be managing your money properly, and I'm going to do a video on that. I'm not a financial advisor. I just have some good understandings of money, how it works and how to make it work for you. So you need to be saving money so that if you do lose your job, let's say your fear actually comes to life. You lose your job and you're not a bad person, so you actually haven't been grossly negligent, and maybe somebody's bad-mouthed you to ruin your career because you wouldn't date their daughter or something. So you're not gonna get your job back in the industry. You got to start from scratch. Well, you've saved up money. You've got money behind you. You can then afford to pay for new training, start from the bottom, and still cover your bills. If you can get to the point where you got a full year of salary under you, then why do you have a fear of losing your job? Okay, so let's say you do lose your job, can't get in the industry, you got to retrain, you got to start from the bottom again. It's going to be unlikely that you have no interests, hobbies, out of work activities that you partake in. I know I've got a few. Case in point, I'm talking to a camera. So if you're, that's a noisy old bike. If you lose your job, why not just pick the pastime that you enjoy the most, which has a career path attached to it. So I mean, obviously, if your all-time favourite thing to do is playing with your kids, and you can't stand other people's kids, you're kind of not in much luck. Because the only person that's going to pay you to play with your kids is you. But then again, also I'm saying that if you love playing with kids, teaching them, watching them make a mess and do arts, or just watching their development and having a part in that development, you've got a career path there. Go get yourself a working with children clearance of some sort. Go get yourself some early childhood development training. Go work at a daycare or open a daycare. You can spend all day hanging out with kids, teaching them, slapping their paint covered hands on paper, all that stuff. You've got a career path. You've got a way of making money. If you're into woodwork, if you're that into woodwork, you'd have a decent amount of tools and hand skills. Make trinkets. Go to like Sunday markets and sell them. There's always a third option. A lot of fear is either you don't do it so that nothing bad happens, or you do it, something bad happens, and you have to stop. There's no situation where there's only two options. There's always a third, or a fourth, or a fifth. You just got to find it. So, what to do with your fear is own it. Don't let it own you. Control your fear. Don't let it control what you do. Because fear is nothing but false expectations appearing real. Alright. Parting word. Comment your fear below. Your biggest fear in life. Not like I fear drowning to death. You know, a fear that is holding you back from living the life you want to live. Living your dream. No, put a fear below that is holding you back from living your dream. And I'll catch you guys in the next one. Stay safe.